A lot of people were not ready for what they saw when Netflix released The Reckoning, because this documentary wasn't just another celebrity project. It was filled with deeply personal footage connected to Sean Diddy Combs, and that alone shocked viewers instantly. The clips felt raw, uncomfortable, and far more revealing than anyone expected, especially knowing how close these moments were to major turning points in his public story. Almost immediately, one question began circulating everywhere, and people weren't whispering it quietly anymore. If Netflix already showed this much personal material involving Diddy, how much more footage exists that the public has never seen? Many viewers felt strongly that what aired could not possibly be everything, and that feeling changed how the entire documentary was received. That's when talk of a second season stopped sounding like rumor and started sounding inevitable. When The Reckoning Season 2 was confirmed, reactions across social media exploded because people understood instantly that this story was far from finished. The message felt clear. Part 1 only opened the door. This time, the conversation shifted in a big way because Season 1 already exposed long-standing industry dynamics tied to bad boy entertainment. The documentary highlighted stories about influence, control, and silence that made many people in Hollywood uncomfortable. It didn't just trend, it disrupted old narratives that had gone unchallenged for years. What stood out most wasn't just the footage itself, but the reactions that followed it. Former collaborators and industry insiders described an environment shaped by pressure and loyalty, and those accounts left viewers stunned. People weren't watching.
In the court, works right up under Diddy, was organizing everything. Allegedly, they are saying that he is on video, film, tampering with witnesses, giving out addresses, offering money, bribing, we'll pay for your lawyers, all kind of shit that could be counted as witness tampering, obstruction of justice. And 50 of all people has his hands on this footage. And I'm hearing that this could implicate Diddy's lawyers in some bullshit. They could be charged.
Watching simply for entertainment anymore. They were watching to understand how these systems operated behind closed doors. One of the most emotional moments came from Aubrey O'Day, a former artist associated with Diddy's label. She spoke openly about experiences that deeply affected her career and personal life, sharing private messages that were described as part of a professional relationship that carried lasting emotional weight. Her delivery wasn't dramatic, it was exhausted, and that made her words even harder to ignore. At one point, Aubrey admitted something that froze the room. She said, "I don't want to know," when referring to moments she hadn't fully processed, and that sentence alone hit audiences hard. It reflected confusion, emotional strain, and the long-term impact of unresolved experiences. The aftermath was immediate and intense. Just days after the documentary aired, Aubrey O'Day was hospitalized, both emotionally and physically drained by the backlash and by reopening painful chapters of her life. That detail made many viewers pause, because it showed that sharing these stories came with real consequences beyond the screen. As headlines spread, online discussions grew louder, and many people felt the same uneasy feeling. As shocking as the revelations were, audiences couldn't shake the sense that something major had been left out. One story, one name, one chapter that felt absent but heavily present at the same time. That's when attention turned toward Kim Porter. A model, actress, and mother of 4, Kim Porter wasn't just a public figure, she was deeply connected to Sean Combs' personal life for over a decade. Even though she wasn't directly addressed in Season 1, her presence seemed to hover over the entire conversation. On November 15, 2018, Kim Porter was found unresponsive in her home in Toluca Lake. The Los Angeles County coroner later stated that the cause of death was lobar pneumonia, but from the very beginning, that explanation didn't sit well with many people who
that Diddy had something to do with the death of his ex-partner and the mother to his children. a woman named Kim Porter. Now, what happened was she mysteriously died of pneumonia at the age of 47.
Kim died from pneumonia. They have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms.
You can't tell me beyond a reasonable doubt this man has done.
Who knew her? She was only 47 years old, and the suddenness raised questions that never fully disappeared. Some people close to Kim publicly questioned the official explanation, saying it didn't align with what they understood about her health at the time. Others quietly suggested she had seemed uneasy in her final years, though none of those claims were ever proven. Still, the speculation lingered and continued to resurface. One voice that added to the public conversation was Al B. Sure, Kim Porter's former partner, who openly stated he did not believe her passing was natural. His words didn't serve as evidence, but they reflected how unsettled many people still felt. When someone so close speaks out, the story naturally shifts. Later, media reports suggested that producers of The Reckoning had initially considered including Kim Porter's story in the first season. According to those reports, the topic was ultimately deemed too sensitive and emotionally heavy to address at that stage. That decision alone fueled even more curiosity. As scrutiny around Diddy increased and new material surfaced, talk of revisiting Kim Porter's life and legacy grew louder. Many believe that if season 2 focuses on her story, it wouldn't just revisit controversy, it would bring emotional depth to a chapter long avoided. Those who knew Kim often described her as graceful, warm, and deeply devoted to her children. She wasn't just a name connected to a headline, she was someone whose absence left a lasting void. That human element became impossible to ignore. As anticipation for season 2 grew, another detail changed the entire conversation. The mention of approximately 140 hours of footage instantly raised eyebrows across the internet. That number alone suggested that what viewers had seen so far was only a fraction of what existed. According to public statements, much of this footage was recorded during a time when Sean Combs reportedly believed his situation would resolve in his favor. Meetings, conversations, and behind-the-scenes moments were documented as part of that process. What began as confidence later became something far more complicated. Only fragments of that material appeared in Part 1, leaving a massive archive unreleased. That fact kept audiences hooked because footage adds context, and context reshapes understanding. What remained unseen quickly became the center of speculation. Fans began believing that this unreleased footage could shape the entire direction of The Reckoning Season 2. Some suggested it wouldn't just continue the story, but completely redefine it. Whether that happens or not, expectations are already sky high. Behind the memes, jokes, and online reactions, something more serious was unfolding. The idea that a documentary could slowly build a public record made many people uneasy. This no longer felt like simple entertainment. As journalists and media figures weighed in, several pointed out how risky it can be to record sensitive conversations during ongoing legal matters. Some described it as one of the most reckless decisions they had seen from a public figure under scrutiny. That commentary only added fuel to the discussion. The conversation spread fast, moving beyond Netflix and into social media, forums, and news outlets. People rewatched scenes, paused frames, and debated timelines. The audience wasn't passive anymore. They were actively dissecting everything. Hashtags connected to The Reckoning, Kim Porter, and Diddy trended repeatedly. Entire threads popped up comparing interviews, public statements, and past events. The story kept growing, not slowing down. And through all of this, one thing became impossible to ignore. The Reckoning wasn't finished, and the pressure surrounding what comes next was only building. What Part 1 revealed raised questions that Part 2 may be forced to answer. As the conversation around The Reckoning continued to grow, one detail began to dominate online discussions, and it changed how people viewed the entire documentary. The idea that there were still nearly 140 hours of unreleased footage shifted the focus from what had already been shown to what might still be hidden. According to statements shared publicly, much of this footage was recorded by Sean Diddy Combs himself during a time when he reportedly believed his situation would eventually resolve in his favor. Meetings, phone calls, and behind-the-scenes moments were captured as part of documenting that process, and the scale of it stunned many observers. Only small fragments of this material appeared in The Reckoning Season 1, leaving a massive archive unseen. That reality alone kept audiences locked in because footage doesn't just show moments, it preserves context, and context has the power to change public understanding. As speculation spread, many fans began to believe that this unreleased material could become the backbone of a second season. The idea wasn't just that the story would continue, but that it could be reshaped entirely by what hadn't yet been revealed. Behind the jokes, memes, and bold social media posts, something more strategic appeared to be unfolding. The documentary no longer felt like a standalone project. It felt like a slow-building record, one episode at a time. Media figures and journalists soon weighed in, questioning why so much sensitive material had been recorded in the first place. Some described the decision as extremely risky, especially during moments involving legal strategy and private discussions. That criticism added another layer of tension to the situation. One media voice that drew attention was Harvey Levin of TMZ, who openly questioned the wisdom of recording confidential conversations. He described it as one of the most reckless decisions he had seen from a high-profile figure facing serious scrutiny. That reaction alone pushed the story further into the spotlight. As these discussions gained traction, the focus returned once again to 50 Cent, who has played a visible role in shaping how this story unfolds publicly. While known for humor and bold statements, many viewers began to see something more deliberate in his approach this time. Rather than backing away from controversy, 50 Cent appeared to lean into it, using social media posts to hint that the story was far from over. When he referenced the existence of extensive unseen footage, the internet reacted instantly, interpreting his words as confirmation that Part 2 would go much deeper. Fans began analyzing every post, every caption, and every comment connected to him, treating each one like a potential clue. Entire threads popped up across platforms, dissecting his wording and comparing timelines to moments shown in the documentary. As the attention intensified, another long-standing chapter resurfaced, pulling the story even further back into history. Conversations about the 1990s hip-hop era, long-buried rivalries, and unresolved debates suddenly reappeared in mainstream discussions. Some viewers pointed to moments in the documentary that they felt hinted at old conflicts involving Tupac Shakur, reigniting debates that had never truly ended. Even subtle references were enough to spark massive reactions online. Journalist Tay, who had first-hand experience covering that era, stepped forward to address the speculation. He made it clear that while questions and discussions are natural, accuracy still matters. Tay stated plainly that available evidence does not support claims connecting Sean Combs to Tupac's death. His words didn't silence the conversation, but they reframed it. Rather than focusing on unproven conclusions, many viewers began shifting attention back toward how narratives form and spread once they enter public space. Still, once speculation gains momentum online, controlling it becomes nearly impossible. Social media amplified every theory, every clip, and every interpretation, pushing the conversation far beyond the documentary itself. As debates continued, new names were pulled into discussions, sometimes through old interviews, sometimes through resurfaced posts. The internet has a long memory, and once attention turns backward, nothing stays buried. Despite the noise, one pattern became clear. The focus wasn't just on individual moments anymore, it was on systems, influence, and how stories are shaped over time. That shift marked a turning point in how audiences engaged with the documentary. At the center of it all remained the unanswered question of what Season 2 might reveal. If The Reckoning continues, many believe it won't just revisit controversy, It will explore consequences. That's where the story circles back to Kim Porter once again. Her name continued appearing in discussions, not as a headline grab, but as an emotional core that Part 1 never fully addressed. People began revisiting interviews, photos, and past appearances involving Kim, noting how often she was described as grounding and protective. Her absence from the first season felt intentional to many viewers, which only deepened curiosity. Reports suggested that producers initially avoided focusing on her story due to its emotional weight. The combination of personal loss, unanswered questions, and public attention made it a topic many believed was postponed, not forgotten. As conversations about Season 2 gained traction, the possibility that Kim Porter's life and legacy could become central grew stronger. Many felt that telling her story wouldn't just add drama, it would add humanity. Those who admired Kim described her as a stabilizing presence in an industry known for chaos. Her devotion to her children and her grace under pressure were frequently mentioned, reminding audiences that behind every headline is a real person. As the narrative expanded, so did interest from industry insiders. Reports began circulating that Netflix executives were closely monitoring the reaction to Season 1 and the buzz surrounding a potential follow-up. According to these reports, viewership metrics surged after the documentary aired, especially during the days following cryptic social media posts tied to the project. When numbers rise like that, networks pay attention. Insiders suggested that discussions about a second season were already happening behind closed doors. The possibility of expanded creative control and deeper exploration only fueled speculation. If Season 2 moves forward, many expect it to be darker, more personal, and more emotionally charged than the first. The stakes feel higher now because audiences are no longer passive observers. What started as a documentary has evolved into an ongoing public conversation. Each new detail, confirmed or not, adds another layer to a story that refuses to settle. Through all the reactions, debates, and theories, one thing remains clear. The reckoning didn't end with Season 1, and the pressure surrounding what comes next continues to build. As the conversation around the reckoning continues to grow, one truth is becoming impossible to ignore. This story refuses to fade away. Every time people think the discussion has reached its limit, another detail resurfaces, another clip trends, or another unanswered question pulls attention right back in. At the center of that tension is the growing belief that Season 2 won't just continue the narrative, it may completely change how the first season is viewed. When a story carries this much weight, what gets revealed next can shift public perception overnight. Many viewers now believe that if the focus truly turns toward Kim Porter, the tone of the documentary will change dramatically. Her story isn't just connected to fame or headlines, it's rooted in family, legacy, and unanswered emotions that still linger today. Those close to Kim have always described her as a grounding presence, someone who brought warmth and balance into spaces that were often chaotic. That contrast alone makes her absence from the first season stand out even more. If The Reckoning chooses to center her life and legacy, it won't just add drama, it will add depth. It would shift the story from power dynamics to human cost, something viewers have been quietly waiting for. At the same time, the existence of extensive unreleased footage continues to hover over everything like a shadow. The idea that so much material remains unseen keeps audiences engaged, wondering what context it might provide and how it could reshape the narrative. Some believe that what hasn't been shown matters just as much as what already has. In stories like this, omission can be as powerful as exposure. As pressure builds, industry watchers are paying close attention to what Netflix decides to do next. When a documentary sparks this level of discussion, networks don't ignore it. They evaluate how far they're willing to go. If Season 2 is greenlit, many expect it to be more personal, more emotionally charged, and far more revealing than the first. The stakes feel higher now because the audience is no longer just watching, they're questioning. What began as a documentary has turned into an ongoing public conversation that stretches beyond streaming platforms. Social media, interviews, and online forums continue to fuel the discussion, keeping the story alive day after day. At this point, one thing is clear: the reckoning opened a door that may not be possible to close again. Whether season 2 delivers answers or raises even more questions, the impact has already been felt. And now the biggest question remains unanswered. Will the full story ever be told, or will some chapters remain locked away forever? That's where you come in. What do you think about the possibility of The Reckoning Season 2? And should Kim Porter's story finally be told? If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure to like this video to support the channel. Share it with someone who's been following this story too, because conversations like this don't happen in isolation. And don't forget to subscribe to I Love Gossip and turn on notifications so you never miss an update when this story takes another turn. We'll be watching closely because this story is far from over.